recognize and unify and know that we're enough, sharing life's abundance and know heaven from within. Let the overflowing joy and peace of God begin. We gather here, we gather here. Take it away. We gather here together to give and receive love, to recognize and unify, know that we're enough, to share in life's abundance and know heaven from within. Let the overflowing joy and peace of God begin. We gather here, we gather here, we gather here, we gather here.
Well, good morning and welcome to CSL Parker. A warm welcome to our member community and our global family, far and wide. My name is Dr. Nadine Rogers and I am the interim senior minister here at Parker. And I just want to say that it's such a joy and an honor to walk side by side with you on this path of conscious evolution. September, this month, we are following the Centers for Spiritual Living theme, Facing the Fear. And so I would like to begin by lighting our unity candle. Knowing that this light symbolizes the transformative power of spirit which lives in each one of us equally and unites us in the remembering of this truth. Here at Parker, we teach practical spirituality for everyday life based on the Science of Mind and Spirit written by Dr. Ernest Holmes. Dr. Holmes summarizes his works by saying this: it is a correlation of the laws of science, opinions of philosophy, and revelations of world religions applied to human needs and the aspirations of man. Now, being all-inclusive, we honor all mindful paths to the one, and we are learning together to celebrate and honor diversity, as well as rejoice and become stronger in what unites us. Isn't it just grand that we are all teachers and students as we come to understand that we do live in a spiritual universe, and therefore we are spiritual beings having a human experience? That everything we think we may lack or need is only and ever found within us, and that ultimately we are here to walk each other home. We know you are blessed right where you are. So sit back and relax and enjoy this upcoming time of music and meditation.
We are one now.
Good morning. Now it is time for our meditation. Let's just settle into our chairs. Start to relax. Embrace this new, beautiful, amazing new day. Let us take a deep breath in. Hold it and release. Another deep breath in and release. Just relax. Let us move within to this beautiful, soft, sacred place. As we welcome the presence of Spirit, we recognize the beauty, the sacred space, the openness as we connect our hearts to the divine as the divine. We open the door to this magnificent connection to all that there is. We fall into this incredible, peaceful, loving state of being, knowing this is our natural state of being home, of being at one with our Creator. Take another deep breath in and recognize this oneness. Recognize this is the reality of the truth of our being. Relax. I invite you to surrender into this magical, mystical, heavenly space that lives within you and me and each of us at all times. In this space, I recognize I have perfect peace. I embrace the wisdom of the divine, knowing that I have clarity each and every moment of each and every day. There is no confusion. There is no pain. There is no condition that I cannot rise above in my daily walk with the divine indwelling within me. I recognize this perfection. I recognize this intense, beautiful emanation of holy, magnificent source energy that fuels my being each and every moment of every day. I am forever connected to this powerful source that I call my Creator, the love that abounds within me, the energy that fuels my every cell in my body of my being. And I am grateful. I am grateful for this indwelling, empowering, incredible, loving God. I allow this knowledge and this feeling just to embrace every fiber of my being. As I relax deeper and deeper into this knowing, I treasure this time. I treasure the truth that wells up within me in this sacred space. I honor it as my truth. I honor it as my wisdom. And I honor it as who I am, today and always. And in this oneness, I gratefully release these words into the law of love, knowing it is so. And so it is.
This day is a witness, myself
Good morning to you, my friends. This morning I'm coming to you from the cockpit of my sailboat, where I live permanently. As a matter of fact, this is the first year anniversary of my move from my home, where I'd been for 20 years, to this sailboat. As you can imagine, living on a sailboat is a somewhat different lifestyle, considerably smaller than what I was used to, and probably most of you are used to, and also incredibly, how shall I say, movable. In other words, I can take off and go anywhere I want, whenever I want. And being retired, that's a very attractive concept. But along with sailing comes a number of things that are problematic. There's always something to be looked at. There's something to be aware of. There's something that you need to attend to on a sailboat. There are always small tasks to be taken care of. There are always things to be thought through and plans to be made before you depart or embark. There are two YouTube personalities, I would say, that I follow. One of them is a fellow whose website is No BS Just Sailing. And he is a Norwegian. He just recently set out to sail the Norwegian Sea from Norway across to a volcanic island called Jan Mayen, and then down to Iceland, and then back to Norway. And as you can imagine, those northern latitudes, the weather, especially ocean weather, can be very changeable and very treacherous. And there's one particular scene where he talks about being in a force 10 gale and standing there looking out at these mountainous waves and this howling wind and saying to himself, fear is nothing more than facing the unknown. It's not the known that we fear, but the unknown. My second personality is a young fellow by the name of Dylan McGaster, and he's been sailing around the Mediterranean for the last couple of years. He jumped onto a boat a few years ago with absolutely no background in sailing and has suddenly become a very proficient sailor. And he said exactly the same thing, that what we fear is what we do not know. And by standing up to our fear and by stepping into the unknown, we make our fear a lie. Ernest Holmes said it in a slightly different way. He said that fear is nothing more than faith misplaced. If you have faith in catastrophe, then you will fear catastrophe. If you have faith in your good, then you will have no fear. So these two men inspire me, along, of course, with my beloved teacher, Dr. Ernest Holmes. When I first became a minister, I remember my very first lecture. It was a lecture that I gave in my ministerial training. And I still remember to this day the image that I used. And it was the image of rock climbing. I had done a bit of rock climbing until I had had a pretty spectacular fall and broken quite a few bones. And so I decided that I would take up some other sport. And sailing seems to be the one that has caught my imagination. But I remember very clearly that particular day when I fell. I was alone. I was breaking the first rule of climbing, that is to say that I was climbing alone. I was breaking the second rule because I did not have a safety line. And I was there on a rock face. I wasn't very high. And there was a ledge that I had climbed up from, maybe about 12, 14 feet. And there was a handhold just out of reach. I was holding on very, very tightly with my left hand and reaching forward with my right. And that next handhold was just a little too far. I knew that what I was going to do was I was going to give myself a boost, release my left hand, and reach out with my right simultaneously. It's something we do pretty commonly if you are used to driving a standard car. And so I reached out, got that handhold, and of course moved up to the next level. The next time I was not quite so successful. But I remember the lesson of that handhold. Dr. Holmes, in a wonderful book that I just recently discovered called It's Up to You, says it is very hard to hold on and let go at the same time. Now, we do have two hands, and so we can do it. But mentally, holding on and letting go at the same time is impossible. It is said that we cannot hold two contradictory thoughts in the mind at the same time. And so we must release one in order to get the other. Or, as we reach out for the new, we must be willing to let go of the old. And in that moment of letting go, as we reach out, we will be in that place that I call the nothing space. You may recognize it as no visible means of support. No visible means of support. And this is where Dr. Holmes and faith comes into play. Because our support, our means of support, is in fact invisible. Paul in his letter said things hoped for, the substance of things hoped for, the substrate, the base that we live from. The great truth of this teaching, I believe, is that we must at some point come to terms with what it is that we believe. At another point in his textbook, Ernest Holmes says, to desert the truth in the hour of need is to demonstrate that we never knew the truth to begin with. My journey from ministry, through retirement, through the sale of my home, and finally onto this sailboat was a test of faith. It tested me so thoroughly. It tested me in holding on to the truth that I had preached for 20 years. It tested me to know for myself what the truth is. There was a very clear moment in that journey of faith. And that really is what it is, friends. It is a journey of faith. It's not suddenly being aware, enlightened, or in that place of residing in the certain knowing of the truth. But it is a journey to that truth. And sometimes we can lose our way. Sometimes so much gets in the way of our good, at least in our own mind, that we doubt that we'll ever make it. As a matter of fact, we begin to doubt that there is ever an it to make it to. I can tell you that I got to that place. And in that moment, the person that I had been had to die so that a new me could be born. That which I had been holding on to so tightly had to be let go of so that I could reach that new place. We're living through a very challenging time. Some of us more than most. I often think from Canada how challenging it must be for so many people, no matter what side of the fence, the left or the right, you are on right now, to find your way through this very fearful time. And I want you to know that I hold you in my heart and in my thoughts. Many of my beloved colleagues are in the U.S., my former congregation members, my prayer partner, my practitioner. And so I think of you often, and I pray for you. I pray that you will be strong, that you will know the truth that Dr. Holmes spoke of, the truth that Dr. Holmes exemplified, and that truth sets you free. I wrote in my journal this morning, and I want to read to you what I wrote as I'm reflecting on this this first anniversary of my move to my sailboat and to the marina that I'm in. I am the walking embodiment of the prayer for the perfect boat and home, perfect marina, perfect life for this time of my life. The abundance and ease I crave is here now. It is right where I am. I don't have to pursue it. I don't have to make it happen. It is not going to arrive sometime and in some form that I have determined is the right form. I don't have to shed old ideas so as to be somehow worthy of this good. I release the belief that I have to deserve it, promise to use it wisely, or somehow coax it into existence. It is here, and I am enjoying it now. If it is here now and I am enjoying it now, then I know, along with Dr. Holmes, that it always has been here. I was watching Swami Beyondananda the other day, and he said, "How many of you are wanting to live more in the now?" And of course a whole bunch of hands went out. And he said, "Too late, it's already done. Too late. I'm convinced that time will become a thing of the past." Now, Swami Beyondananda is famous for his plays on words. But the truth is, the good that we seek has always been available. But we have been unable to receive it. It is Michael Beckwith who said, "The universe does not have a giving problem. We have a receiving problem." And I am here to tell you that I have had my receiving problems. But all of my receiving problems reside in the fact that I will not let go of what I have had. You see, there's a dictum that I have used in my teaching for the last 20 years. It's not an incredibly comforting one. It's actually a very challenging one. And it is this: there is a price to be paid for the life that you say you want. And the price is nothing less than the life you have. Now, I suppose if the life we have were so wonderful, what would be the issue in letting go of it? After all, if it works so well, why not? Why not hold on to it? But of course, it's not working well. There are aspects of it that do not fit, that are a challenge, that are hard for us. So if that's the case, why won't we let go of it? It's because we don't yet know if we'll be able to grab that next handhold. We don't yet know that we will be safe in the nothing space. And this is what Ernest Holmes exemplified so beautifully in his life, I believe. He says that we must live continuously in the presence, in the certain and felt knowing that good is ours, not sometime in the future, not when we grab a hold of that next handhold, but now, right where we are. When I take my boat out, there are a couple of things that I need to do, depending on where I am. If I'm tied up, I have to let go of the lines. In other words, that which has got me tied securely to the dock has to be let go. And as soon as that happens, I feel myself adrift. The engine may be running, but I have to put it in gear, set a course, and give it a throttle so I can move forward. But if I'm at the dock and put it in gear and give it throttle, and no matter what course I want to set, if I'm at the dock, I won't be going anywhere. I have to let go those lines. If I'm at anchor, it's a little bit more complicated. That anchor drops down into the depths, and I can't really tell where it is. I mean, I can tell where it is, but I can't really tell. Is it in mud? Is it in rock? Is it on sand? What is it? I know that it's held the boat fast overnight, but where is it really? And so what I have to do is weigh anchor. That means I have to lift the anchor. Now, the word weigh in this case is a kind of a strange one, because what it means is to lift a weight up. Now, I don't cut the anchor free and just leave it there, because I'm going to need it again. So what I need to do is lift that which has been holding me. I have to bring it on board. It is said that when we have dreams of homes as in houses, not Dr. Holmes, when we have dreams of homes, it's about consciousness. Now, my home is mobile. My friends who know me and know my background as a monk call it my floating hermitage. And it's true. But here's what I know. This home that I'm in, this consciousness that I am in right now, is mobile. I can go anywhere I want with this consciousness. But what I must do is bring on board those things which hold me back, those things which limit me, those things that I fear. Like my friend Eric in Norway, I have to bring that fear on board. Bring that unknowing to my consciousness, and then let go. This is, in fact, all of our work. Ernest Holmes, in talking about treatment, talks about how we move from meditation, or contemplation, as I like to call it, the contemplation of the truth, My favorite contemplation of truth statement is, there is one life. That life is God's life. That life is my life now. That is the moment for me of knowing the truth. And into that moment and into that meditation spot, I pray. And I pray into that spot so that I can embody that truth, so it can be a living truth in me. Once that embodiment has taken place, Ernest Holmes would say the hardest thing of all comes next. And that is to let it be. To release it and to let it be. How many times have we prayed for something only to dig up the old consciousness the next day or in the next hour, or God help us, the next moment, and say to ourselves, gosh, I hope that worked. The creation myth is a beautiful myth, and it is so deep in meaning, every word. In the beginning, there was nothing, but the Spirit of God floated over the face of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light," and light was. That myth does not say, and the Spirit of God moved over the face of the water, and God said, "Let there be light." And then his next thought was, I hope this worked. The translation from the Hebrew is, light be, and light was. We would not fault a child who was doing an experiment in botany if he planted a little plant and then went back a couple of days later and dug it up to see if it was growing, if the roots were strong. We would tell him he shouldn't do it again, put it back in, and hope for the best. But yet as adults, as practitioners, and when I say practitioners, I mean every single one of you out there is a practitioner of this teaching. As practitioners, we dig up the old consciousness over and over and over. Imagine what would happen if every time I weighed anchor, I dropped it again. How much progress would I make? How free would I be in my movement from point A to point B? So letting go of the lines, weighing anchor, being in the nothing space. In our deepest crises, perhaps like some of you may be convinced you're in now, it's the most difficult thing to do. Let it be. I celebrate where we are, all of us, no matter where on the planet, in your home, wherever you are. I celebrate where you are. And I recognize, and I hope you recognize along with me, that we are in that place of uncertainty in our own mind and radical possibility in the mind of the One, of which we are an expression. I would like to invite you to join me now. Close your eyes if you're willing, and know with me this truth. Where I am right now, where my nation is, where my fellow citizens are, where we all are around the world, is a place of infinite possibility. A place where great good resides. It is the good that is God. It is the good that is life. It is the good that is the mind in the heart. And so I open my heart, and in that heart I find courage. Courage. La force du cœur. The power of the heart. That's where the word courage comes from. Cœur, the heart. In that heart, I find the heart of God. I am in the heart of God. God is not in me. I am in God. My soul is not in me. I am in the great soul, the oversoul. And so all is well. I am safe. I have everything I need for this journey. And I embrace the adventure. I weigh anchor. I cast off my lines. And I set my course for the new. The book of Revelation says, and Spirit cried out, "Behold, I make all things new." This is a now moment. This is a new moment. This is the moment of nothing and of everything. This is your moment. This is my moment. Embrace the fear. Take it into your heart. And know that you are moving towards a greater sense of being and a greater well-being than you have ever known. This is the truth, and let that truth set you free. And so it is.
I invite you now into a personal investment called sacred giving. When we know that there is an infinite flow of prosperity and abundance moving in, through, and as us at all times, no matter what our circumstances may show us, we can begin to expand our consciousness of acceptance and then give from a grateful heart. You know, when our souls are fed by faith-filled giving, not obligatory giving, our gifts bless the giver and the receiver many times over. So for your convenience, we have provided you with a number of ways in which you can contribute. First off, you can click the box at the top of your screen. You can also go on our website or donate via Zelle. Or if you're more comfortable, you can write a check and mail it to our office address. We do receive and appreciate your tithes, and we thank you for supporting us to remain a vital and vibrant and thriving center in which you may continue to receive your spiritual nourishment. So I invite you now to affirm your prosperity through the power of your own word by saying these words with me. I attract all good things into being. The power of my faith enhances my experience of health, relationship, finance, fulfillment, passion, purpose, and joy. The creative source in my life is in a constant state of perfection, freely giving itself as my bounty. And so it is. And now won't you enjoy this offertory song?
2, 3. God, you're so good to me. You've always been so good to me. I sing it to eternity. God, you're so good. God, you're so beautiful. You are so beautiful. Baby, you're faithful. God, you're so good. You're so merciful. God, you're so merciful. You've always been so merciful. Your blessings are so bountiful. God, you're so good. You're so good to me. God, you're so good to me. You've always been so good to me. I sing it through eternity. God, you're so good. God, you're so good to me. You've always been so good to me. I sing it through eternity. God, you're so good.
That's how we'll end it.
Let's join together in this benediction. We have been blessed by your presence and the presence of everybody who joined together in mind and heart today to remember how to love this gift, this thing called life. All is well here. And knowing that there is only one source and one power and one presence that's immutable, that's all-loving, that is wise, that is responsive to the imprint which we give it through our thought and our feeling, we rejoice in our freedom of choice. We rejoice in the fact that we can constantly reinvent ourselves. We rejoice in the fact that we can trust this greater idea that is moving in through us and all people equally, and therefore we know we're guided, guarded, and directed. We know that we can rely upon this divine wisdom as we listen, and we allow life to unfold through us. We call this good, and we call it very good. And in this knowing, we know that nobody is left out. Nothing is left out. There are no mistakes. There is only a beautiful, glorious unfolding of a sacred love, emanating its light as each of its creation. For this we give thanks. We give thanks for who we are and for how life is showing up in our life right now. We let this go with deep gratitude. We prove our faith as we move and walk upon this world with open minds, open hands, and open hearts, welcoming in this revelation, affirming this revelation of a world that works for everyone. Life is indeed a blessing, and so are you, and so it is.
to be humble, to be kind. It is a giving of the peace in your mind, to a stranger, to a friend, to give in such a way that has no end. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other and nothing more. And to be bold, to be brave, it is the thinking that the heart can still be saved, and the darkness can come quick. The danger's in the anger and in the hanging on to it. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing more. And tell me what it is that you see, a world that's full of endless possibility, and heroes don't look like they used to, they look like you do. We are love, we are one, we are how we treat each other when the day is done. We are peace, we are war, we are how we treat each other, nothing